How are you?
Not
I'm
wrong.
doing good. How's
Good.
your world?
Abby and I finally connected today, and she told me
Yes.
about this, so
Good,
I was very excited.
good. You guys are all bundled up, and I'm in a tank top because it's so hot over here.
We got your rainy Washington weather.
This is my fancy outfit.
That's the fancy one.
This
Yeah,
is my hi Sophie, welcome. This is my vibe this afternoon.
yeah.
And this is actually a Maine cannabis advocacy brand. So it's a little play on lobster in the pot, but also
Mm-hmm.
pot of
Right.
lobster. It was gifted at a networking event recently, which was pretty cool.
I worked in the industry for a hot 4 months.
Yeah.
I was hired as the marketing director
Yeah.
for a cultivator slash dispensary who at this point has live ordering like at Dunkin' Donuts drive-through.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Um,
Yeah.
I took a lot out of it. Like I learned a ton about the business, and it's really fascinating.
It is. I could talk for hours.
Mhm.
That's my primary
We'll
client.
schedule another time for that.
Yeah, we will. Um, all right. Well, I am doing a little bit of organizing, and as people start to join, hopefully there isn't anyone have any problems with the link tonight.
I just went straight through the Zoom link. I didn't go through Eventbrite, so I'm not sure.
I went through Eventbrite, but found the Zoom link there.
Cool. Okay. Sometimes there are issues. Um,
Sophie, it's very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet y'all too.
Y'all, nice.
Yeah, I'm in North Carolina.
oh, nice.
Excellent.
Second
Where?
person I've talked to today is in North Carolina.
Oh, cool. Yeah, right outside of Raleigh in a suburb called Cary.
Very
Hmm.
nice.
Nice.
I'm in the
Okay.
giant state of Rhode Island. It's a 40-mile stretch of Route 95 between New York City and Boston.
Giant. All right. I'm gonna get us going now that Kenny's here, we can officially start.
All right.
Um, I am gonna continue letting people in as they arrive. I don't know why I'm even adding this tonight, but I do usually cut off like the entry to like 10 past just to kind of keep the container nice and people aren't just popping in for the juicy parts and skipping out on the harder, scarier thing of introducing oneself. Um, so whoever would like to get us started, I just share who you are, where you're from, and what you do. And you're welcome to use the hand raising. Otherwise, it's kind of a I'm cool with a free for all for this part. But if nobody goes, I will call. So,
Well, I'm happy to kick us off. So,
cool.
Gary Darley, I am in Washington State, and I am a financial coach, and I help people with a vague strategy and loose set of savings accounts. Put those accounts to work in a tiered investment system that keeps your money in your now bucket while preparing for your tomorrow bucket so that you're not forced into bad decisions when you get to that point.
Welcome back, Gary.
Good to be here.
Gary, earlier today, Abby referred to you as a friend. I just want you to know
I did.
Feelings mutual.
that.
Yeah.
I'll go next if you want, because I'm already talking.
Cool.
I just met Abby today, so I've never been here before. My name's Mike. You found out I'm in Rhode Island, and my job is to show you guys how to talk about yourself when it comes to pitching and how to turn that pitch into a conversation. That's the goal. Problem is, we all know too much about our business. We know 100% about it. So finding the 5% that connects with our audience is what's hard. That's where I come in, what I help with. So thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Great to have you. A couple quick things. If you could just pop your camera on for a quick second, verify you're like a real person, that would be great. Sadly, I have been hacked, so it's my due diligence to make sure you're real. And then if you would like to share your links in the chat so we can connect, that would be an awesome way to keep it going. Thank you. Thanks, guys. All right, whoever would like to go next, take it away.
Oh, I'll take the baton, I guess. So good evening, everybody. My name is Kenny Rodriguez, calling from Connecticut. And my company is Atlas Studios. And so we specialize in primarily three things: branding, marketing, and development. So it's my job to work with growth-minded entrepreneurs, help them either improve something upon their business, expand, or build something new that complements what they already represent. So if you can imagine it, we'll do the rest.
Welcome back. Kenny is one of my other every weekers. Um, who would like to go next? Sophie, I'll call
Hi.
on you. Oh, go ahead, Kevin. Take it away.
Hi.
You say it
Hi,
first.
my name is great. Hi, my name is Kevin J. Williams. I'm with Catalyst Global Markets. I'm founder of the company. We assist early stage businesses within AI, tech, e-commerce, life sciences, green energy and technology, as well as aerospace. And we assist them with capital raises as well as business development activities.
Awesome. That's exciting. All right. Uh who would like to go next? I will call on the same person.
I can
Okay.
pop in. I was just getting my links ready. But nice to meet everyone. My name's Sophie, and my company is called Sprout Web Services. I recently launched after 4 years at an agency that I felt like really wasn't giving specifically small business owners much value. So that's what I do. And it's only been a few months now, full time on my own, but I'm really happy I made this decision.
I'm happy you joined us as well. Thank you for being here. All right, who's next?
I can go next.
Sophie picks.
I can go next. Hello, my name is Courtney. I am from Virginia and I run a full digital marketing agency. I specialize in SEO, website development, and Google Business Profiles. And I love to work with animal care field. So veterinarians, groomers, doctors, pretty much any of those animal professions are who I love to be introduced to.
Where in Virginia?
I am located in Lynchburg. It's like closer to West
I'm a
Virginia.
Lynchburg College grad.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, well, University of Lynchburg, but I'm a Lynchburg College grad, so
Oh, that
I'm
is
forever
hilarious.
be Lynchburg College
Oh,
alum.
that is hilarious. That's actually the reason why we moved here. So,
Is it?
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Courtney, I have questions.
You have questions? Okay.
Why animals?
Ah, so I have a background in it. So I have a degree in animal behavior. I used to be a vet tech. I used to work in my animal shelter and I worked at the zoo for quite a bit. So it makes sense that they're my main niche. So that's why it's my target.
Got it. My suggestion, lead with that. Lead with the fact that you're targeting those establishments, right? Don't lead with you're a digital marketing agency. Lead with you get the pups you want to take care of working with me, right? You want to, if it's a groomer, if it's a pet store, if it's um, like you said, a doggy daycare, any of those, they're looking for more pets. So I help groomers and daycare find more pets, is what you want to say first.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, who do we have next? Melody, could I call on you?
Okay, sorry. I
There
didn't
you
unmute
go.
myself. I'm Melody Stewart. This is my first meeting. I am out of Florida right now, I am pre-launch for my business. My business is I'm building an app to better connect roommates. Um, it's a little complex, but it's also pretty simple. So yeah, that's me.
I definitely want to know more about that. We gotta
Yes.
talk. That sounds pretty cool. My
I'm
calendar's in the chat.
Yes, drop your links in the chat. Whatever they are. If they're LinkedIn, I'm a big Instagram user, not a big LinkedIn person, so feel free to drop all whatever you're really using. Um, Deccio, I'm gonna try that out. If you could at least just pop on camera for a second or voice and do your intro, that would be cool. No. Uh, yes. Thank you. Yay. I hate having to like kick people out. But that's okay. You just if you don't want to talk, that's totally fine. Just a wave is good enough for me. But we would love to hear from you either way. Okay. Shamika, we're just doing just a
Hello, how are you guys?
rate who you are,
Good.
where you're from, and what you do.
This is my first meeting. My name is Shamika James, and I own a home care agency in Omaha, Nebraska. So I help the elderly and the disabled in their homes.
Awesome. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes. I think that brings us to Mr. Nate.
What's up, everybody? My name is Nate Dubois, and I'm the founder of Legend Initiative. We shape perception and lead brands to transcend culture. So if you want to become a legend in your industry, we're the team you work with.
Awesome. Thank you all. All right, I'm Abigail, your host, um, full charge accountant and creator of the Business Kickstart Accelerator. It's an online community space with financial mastery classes. I do a little bit of yoga and meditation and some real like community co-working spaces and um, my intent is to cultivate a more in-depth version of this space here. Um, I do things a little bit differently. First of all, I'm going to drop some links in the chat. So this is being recorded, and I will post the recordings to YouTube. And there are historical discussions on YouTube if you want to take a gander at those. We also have a Discord channel where we keep the conversation going, and there's a couple different threads on there where you can share or ask questions. I'll share the link to that as well, and my one-on-one link will be on there as well. Um, I did share in the Discord. We've been talking about grit in April. And I had a discussion with chat earlier, which was my first like verbal discussion with chat. We came up with a discussion prompt for tonight, which I'll also put in the chat um, after I hit send here. Um, do you think society's definition of success limits your willingness to persist in what truly matters to you? And then how can you redefine grit so it aligns with your values? Really, I really wanted, this is our last week on this topic, so I really wanted to get in there. I'm just gonna type that up and put it in the chat, but if anyone wants to go, I guess to simplify it, like, does society's interpretation of success limit you and what you truly want to do?
I could share a little on that, I think, as someone who was just really unhappy working at an agency. feel like we were all spread really thin and expected to deliver a lot, like loyalty for the company, but I wasn't being compensated fairly, in my opinion. And then I was having like no external life outside of work. It was just like grinding for them. And I didn't really feel very successful in my personal life. So choosing to step away from that and build something which does take a lot of grit is also a lot more rewarding. And like I get to set my own boundaries on how much I'm willing to do and for why. And the ethics of my business are all up to me now. I don't have to just have a blind eye if the way my employer works doesn't jive with me anymore.
I love that deeply. Mike.
You'd think after what? We've been on Zoom 5 years that I'd have mute figured out. No. I
Nah.
can really relate to that, Sophie. I worked in corporate America, and that's actually where I uncovered what I'm good at. But for 7 years, I worked for Hasbro Toys, which should sound like you're bringing kids' dreams to come true, but it's just an ocean of master's degrees who would eat their young to climb the corporate ladder. And I never felt more like a cog in a machine. But after 4 years of not being good at making this stuff, they figured out I'm good at talking about it. So that's how I got into presentation skills and developing pitches and working with keynote speakers, is because I found what I could do well, or I felt I could do well. And that's what I took away from a miserable experience. And it sounds like you have a little bit different interpretation, but the same result. Good for you.
I'll share a little bit. Um, this society defining concept is something that lives in my brain like a parasite sometimes. Especially when dealing with people's money all the time. And taxes and like the concept of being a cog in the wheel for the man. Um, like sometimes I get caught up in that and like burnout kind of starts to creep in a little bit. Um, and I've worked for other people. I've worked on teams. I've worked in corporate environments, and those just are not for me. Um, Mike, I might have been telling you earlier today, I lived in North Jersey for a long time, so I was in what I consider like the actual rat race of America, bumper to bumper, rush hour traffic.
Another suburb of Wall Street.
Yeah. My husband at the time was working on Wall Street. I don't know if any of you remember like the 1% protests in there. Um, just like really being a cog in the wheel of societal expectations, and it crushed me. And sometimes like I'll get in these loops again where I'm like just dealing with people's money and facilitating materialism, and but then when I step back and I've created this accelerator program, not because I want to like cultivate and live in that energy, but because part of what I do really sets people up to have like fulfill their purpose and live in their dream life. And like having a greater impact gives greater purpose to what I do, if that makes sense, I suppose. Um,
I think it does. I mean, I think you found meaning in something that I was telling you this earlier. We all are playing a role whether we want to be or not. We're not thinking like ourselves. We're not acting like ourselves. We don't talk like ourselves when we're in business. And it clouds what we actually want to do. That's what creates the cog, is the business role that you're in. And getting out of it was like, for me, was eye-opening. I had a question. Do you think social media lends to this idea of like societal success? Because I see that at the high school level, the competition that goes on. But I think that that really is something that people look at and be like, oh, I should be like that. It's almost like imposter syndrome on social media. Do you think that has an effect on it?
I know there's some people in this group that can definitely share some really in-depth insights into that. As someone who's like launching something new and starting some new social media pages, campaigns, etc. Like my Old Woods page is long standing. I've had it for 10 years. Um, yes. But I've had some really interesting conversations and like really been kind of studying like the content that's getting a lot of attention. And it's not the people that are like, oh, look at my like Range Rover or my nice shiny bag. It's not those people. It's Nate, I showed you the guy that shows up like a gremlin, the landscaper from South Jersey. Like he just started his social media and he is a freaking weirdo. And he has gone viral instantly. So, like, really curating who you're following so it doesn't make you feel that way, I think is really important. But also, I just started really getting into threads, which is very conversational. There's no imagery, it's all text. Like, the vibe is good. There's no music, there's no, music and words and photos and all this overstimulation going on. It's just like, hey, here's my thought. Who else thinks this way too? Type of thing. And I really like it. Gary.
So, along the socials theme, I actually resisted joining any social media for a very, very long time. And when I finally did jump on the bandwagon, I found that it overly occupied my mind and was depressing. So, I only allow myself moments on social media, and it's for very specific purposes, but I absolutely don't doom scroll because it does influence your thought processes and what it is that you're doing.
The only
Um,
one I use is LinkedIn. I'm too scared of the other ones. I don't want to deal with it.
my little town, which is why I joined Facebook, my little town only communicates through Facebook. So you had to get on, and then there's all these political posts, and there's all these garbage that doesn't really benefit anyone. It just creates hate. And I avoid it at all costs because it absolutely can push you into one of those camps or corners if you're not careful.
Yeah, sometimes you have to like really rework your algorithm, especially on like Instagram or anything Reels related. Nate.
Quick thing for insights. There's actually a movie, a documentary about social media and its implications on the youth. And obviously, everybody would probably guess that most of the founders or the people that work within Meta don't allow their children to be on Meta. So much to Mike's point of view, right? It does create kind of that competition, but more than that, it also limits your ability to think for yourself because social media does like how can I say this? It's more supportive of your views than imposing them, right? So if I like this constantly, my algorithms won't be tailored to me liking this constantly. So I'm never going to be able to think about another point of view, right? I'm going to stay on this side because algorithms are designed to keep you on a platform, no matter what it is, whether it's ads, whether it's conversations, engagement, whatever, it's designed to keep you on a platform. So the more people stay on that platform for whatever reason, the more it's going to push, right? So if you're liking content about gremlins, like Abigail, she likes the content, so she gets pushed that content. Or if you like boats, you're going to get pushed more boats content. So that is a problem. Now, in terms of your question, grit as it relates to social media discipline, I think I think people are more like when it comes to social media, people are more obsessed with the flashy, right? It's the easy part of business, right? Nobody, well, not a lot of people, they are starting to now because the algorithm favors people that tell their stories. But before, nobody wanted to tell the bad parts of being an entrepreneur, the bad parts of starting a career, the bad parts of going to college, the bad parts of not making a basketball team, the bad parts of it all, right? Everybody wanted to showcase the highlights. And part of that is the youth grew up just seeing highlights, right? This is how it's supposed to be. And if it's not like that, then I'm not going to showcase. I'm not going to showcase that. It's just going to be this. So that mindset does shift. So when it comes to grit, when they do encounter a problem or a challenge, they think it's not supposed to be like this and they quit. So it kind of limits like It's not supposed to be this because I've seen it like this online. I've seen this on social media. So if I hit a wall, I'm supposed to just switch lanes instead of finding something else to do to knock the wall down or hop over the wall. You know what I mean? So that's just social media.
That's an awesome insight, man. I mean, the whole thing, our entire world is now shaped by opinions of others. If you think about how you scroll through whatever, look at political discourse these days, it's all on social media and people pick sides because it's based on subjectivity. There's no objectivity to it. And you get sucked into it real fast. It's a problem. In terms of grit, my grit is just be consistent because it's really hard to do. And it takes a lot out of me to make sure I'm consistent, but that's just me. Anyway, I think it's a great point. Good call.
Penny.
Wow, I really love the points that Gary, Nate, and Mike brought up because I feel like there is a huge like discrepancy, right? When you're scrolling through social media, it's like what people present versus what the reality might be, right? It's very idealistic. And thankfully, a lot of my interaction with social media nowadays is, business oriented, right? Back in the day, I used to work at Popeyes. So while I was flipping chicken, putting it in a box, I would see those pages, right? Posting like the Rolls Royce, all these celebrities living lavish lifestyles, right? And it's very easy to compare, right? Like, look at where I'm at, look at where this person is, right? But over time, right, the more I committed myself to school and my education, I was like, okay, like I started to frame it as this is another step that I'm taking towards being successful, right? And the more steps I took, the more I started to like filter out and kind of like narrow down on this is my grit, right? This is my perseverance. This is step by step, right? Inch by inch, persevering and kind of ignoring that external like, hey, look at what I got, right? Look at where I am. It's like, no, this is my journey, right? And this is my progress. And so when I started my career with Atlas Studios with my mentor, it really was a wake up call, right? Because it was like, look at now how far I've come, right? Even though this was like, more recent, I'm kind of on the younger side, but this is really like life changing for me, right? Just to have that experience of look at that. I was putting chicken in a box and now I'm helping develop, you know, really reasonably large companies. So very, very, I would say important to stay true to yourself, right? And that definition of grit for me is definitely that incremental progress, even if it's a centimeter a day.
Um, so many thoughts on everything. One, your ability to put blinders on and like avoid comparison with as much social media is out there, that's grit. I mean, that's big grit. That is like almost everybody, maybe not everybody, but a lot of people are addicted to the scroll, the dopamine, whatever it is, the comparison. But then, Nate, what you said about basically like just, AI, when you're having conversations with chat or whatever AI platform you're on, we've talked about this before, is like its intent is to please you, the consumer of the conversation. And it's the same with social media, where it is feeding you what you want to see, it's feeding you what you want to hear, which is, I mean, people would love to hear talk more about AI and this kind of algorithm based, pleasing the consumer situation. It's just a lot to think about, but I just wanted to like really point out how
I
AI,
refer I refer to them as yes men.
yeah.
You
Well,
know, they're going
I
to come
will
back and try to
say
satisfy what you need.
I have told my chat not to do that to me, to challenge my thinking and try to make it, try to be expansive. It's kind of swung a little on the irritating way. I'm not even gonna lie, where it argues pretty much with everything I say now. but um an alternative perspective at least. Um More than four scrolls per visit. All right. I I think as we talk about also like redefining grit, I think that the social media thing would probably be one of the things that needs to stand out most in my life. How to stay focused and disciplined on having a aligned feed and not just like, some of you know I'm conspiracy theorists. So like that is a lot of my feed and it's not super healthy for my mental health. Relationships, it's definitely not helping my business grow in any way, shape, or form. But like really curating my reels, really curating the conversations I'm having and and being mindful of the time. And I do notice if I like the last week or so I haven't spent a lot of time on there. I've been creating my posts on my computer, and doing it all through my computer keeps me away from the doom scroll, and that's been good for my discipline. um Trying to find some appreciation for LinkedIn. I am looking for it. I don't know if any of you saw my post the other day that was like, what is this?
Well, you know what? Every Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, people go there for a million reasons, but the
Mhm.
only reason people go to LinkedIn is to network with other businesses. So that's why
Right.
I stay there. And that's how I stay away from the other stuff is
Yeah.
stay on LinkedIn. It's like I'm staying on my porch. It's perfect. Safe.
If you've seen my social media, no one wants to see me on my porch in real life. But well, that's another bridge. Yeah, I guess that's all I wanted to share. And I do want to, yeah, yeah. Nate, go ahead.
One thing you and Mike brought up like two things that I think more people should talk about, which is like there's different reasons to be on platforms, right? Abigail, you hate LinkedIn. We talked about it. You hate LinkedIn, but you do like threads, and like that's kind of like what you love right now. Mike loves LinkedIn. And I think grit has to do with just finding your own way to fight. Right. And I feel like that's the most important thing when it comes to grit, right? Nobody is gonna like I'm an athlete guy, everybody know I play basketball, whatever. There's different ways to shoot a basketball. Now, obviously, people say there's a form. There's no form. Everybody shoots different. You look at the NBA, everybody shoots different, but it's the way that they shoot, and that's the way that feels natural to them. I think grit is more so learning a skill, right? And it doesn't look the same for everybody, right? I can probably spend 20 hours doing work, but I'm in marketing and PR, right? I talk to a lot of people. I get out, I do creative stuff, right? It's different things within that relation. Abigail might only spend 8 or 9 because she's looking at numbers and she's a nerd. So right, but that's different ways, and that's I think that's the most important thing about grit is learning your own way to fight and fight for your business, fight for the people that matter for you, your impact, your community, whatever it is. I think that's what grit really is.
Gary.
So thinking about the success portion of the question, um, when I look at what success is to me, I work in personal finance and in retirement and that sort of thing. Um, it's not specifically a passion for me, but what is a passion for me is personal freedom. And it's very difficult to achieve personal freedom without the finance piece in place. Um, and so when I look at what success is to me, it's not driving the G Wagon. It's not having 8 cars or a boat or whatever that thing is. To me, success is earning four and spending three. And if you can do that on a recurring, you've built a business on it, um, system so that your cash flow exceeds your expenses, That to me is success, not what we see in the socials, not what we see flashed around, private jets and all that other stuff. And if for you that success is that private jet or the G-Wagon or whatever, there's nothing wrong with that. My advocacy for it is that make sure that it fits within your financial plan and that you are earning 4 and spending 3 or whatever that number is, so that your cash flow covers what it is that you need to do. And to me, that's the definition of success and financial freedom.
Mike.
Yeah, I find my biggest issue, call it societal or business or whatever, is imposter syndrome. Undervaluing what I do because I don't think it's as valuable to my clients as it is, or comparing myself to other businesses. Like, look how much more sophisticated they are. I think it takes grit to take it for what it is. Maybe you'll find some learnings, but we all have a vision when we start out, right? Like, Sophie, you had a vision and it's a straight line. An Arizona highway, you could see 10 miles. But the second you take the first step, it becomes this windy, snowy road in Vermont, you know? And the grit comes by placing the stepping stones the right way to create that parabolic effect to your vision. Sticking with it, taking the steps needed and not just trying to shoot there, because that's not grit. To me, that's just ignorance. It doesn't work that way. So I think it's really important for me, to maintain that perspective and say, okay, I'm not here, but if I do these next 3 things, that's going to get me closer. And that's what keeps me motivated.
I'm going to share. So, Kenny, go ahead. You first.
I just wanted to say I really appreciate Mike bringing that point up because it actually segues really well into what my next thought was. Um, Abby, I don't know if you remember RC, who was on last week's meeting.
Yes, I spoke to her for a while today.
Nice.
Yeah.
I had the pleasure of speaking with her like a couple days ago, and a lot of our conversation was about kind of this shift that she's making in her brand identity, right? So she markets herself as a survivor turned CEO, right? Because she's had some traumatic experiences in the past, and she's brought that, into her expertise. So it's kind of how does that experience that she had, as terrible, as traumatic as it was, how can she take that and help it become relatable to a new audience, right? And so a lot of what we touched on was, okay, so clearly you can't go into the gruesome, visceral detail, right, of this experience. But what you can do is draw from what you learn from these experiences, allude to it. And if you have, a speaking engagement where you actually go and speak about the story at length, you can actually include that as kind of like a callback or an external link in your video, right, in your content. So for example, she's like, "Hi guys, I'm RC. I'm a trauma-informed business strategist. I realized that I didn't have an execution problem. I had a fear problem, right? And the reason why I know this is because, I had this experience, right? So if you want to learn the full story here, I'll leave the link for you down below, right? And then go into her next, segment about tips, advice, that educational portion. She likes to include a bit of neuroscience in there. So I said that's phenomenal. If you can kind of frame it that way, um, and always allude to, if you're talking about a story, right? Never go at length describing in detail about the story, right? Because we know in social media today, people have very short, attention spans, right? Very tough to digest. Um, so, somebody's scrolling along, they see, I said the most important part is getting them to that next touch point, right? So if you can get them to your YouTube, get them to your Instagram, get them to your website, get them to your program, right? Always include the next step into whatever content you're creating, right? So you go from survivor turned CEO into one of the most trusted, professionals in that industry. And it kind of helps to build that authority without sounding, like a victim.
That's a good, I think about the movie based on what you just said. I think about the movie Ghostbusters. It They tried three times to sell it in. This is back in the mid 80s. The technology, the story was kind of foreign to people. And they could not sell it in because they went straight to the description of the whole story. Then Dan Aykroyd had an idea to give it a log line, a headline that would grab their attention and make them want to hear the story. So he started the next pitch, and this I can't remember the studio, but they picked it up. He started it with, okay, I want you to imagine. Has everybody seen Ghostbusters or have an idea of it? Okay, good.
Absolutely.
I want you to imagine ghost janitors of New York City. That's exactly what the movie is. They come out with traps, they wear coveralls. There's a song on the soundtrack that's called Cleaning Up the Town. It set the tone perfectly for the content to follow. And that's exactly what you're talking about. I think where grit plays a big role there is sharing is hard, right? And sharing a story is hard. Sharing yourself is hard. But if you take that shot and have that right headline, then people are into what you're sharing. They're paying attention. Otherwise, you may be talking to yourself. That's my 2 cents. I'm sorry, guys, I talk a lot.
No, I appreciate that, Mike. Thank you.
Mike, that kind of energy is very welcome here. I I told you that earlier. Bring it. Bring the insights. It's what it's all about. Um,
I could say I'm very much looking forward to talking to a lot of you or all of you one to one.
yeah.
Nate, you're high on my list. I got to talk to you. I think we'll have fun.
Um, One of the things that keeps coming up, and I'm actually dropping some discussion topics for May in the Discord, which the link is above in the chat. So, but definitely try to join it via your phone, so you can stay with us. Um, Overcoming objections with grit. So, and like as that pertains to staying true to your purpose and your passion. So, for example, for my own example, my example is within my accelerator, I get a lot of questions or objections like, why yoga? Like what does that have anything to do with business or entrepreneurship in any way, shape, or form? And at first, fear of visibility and fear of putting it all out there, like these are my skills and these are my talents and this is what I'm good at, and like confidently showing up like that. Like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Why am I doing that? And remove it from the whole platform. And then as I'm starting to work on my story, my secret sauce, if you will, like my secret sauce is that combination of finance and mindset and mental stability. Um, and like just getting over and repeatedly saying why I think that yoga and meditation are important when it comes to developing a business. And it's not necessarily that it's yoga and meditation, it's that it's a discipline, a self-care discipline, and putting personal health and personal development at the foundation of building your business, I think is important. Mental health. Like if you can't get through a day, you're not going to be able to get through a day as a business owner if you can't keep it together. Um,
I'm
so just
sticking with what I told you before. You should offer that to your clients as a gift with purchase.
yeah, well, it's monthly. It's monthly, it's in there.
Oh, it
But I
already is?
could do it's already in there. Yeah, it's already there's live,
Nice.
monthly as you maintain the subscription, there's new updates, but there are a couple yoga classes already loaded in the platform.
Oh, I'm
Um,
sorry. I'm talking about your full
my
charge
my
clients.
one-on-ones.
Yeah. Offer it
Yeah,
to them as a gift with
I've had a
purchase, like
couple
an
of
added value.
conversations. Eli, who we haven't seen in a couple weeks, he's incredible. We've talked about because he's very much into like the personal development mindset stuff and finding aligned clients through that kind of energetic work. Um, which I would love to do more of. For now, I've just been in this cannabis space, which we were talking a little bit about. Like, it is exhausting. It is no longer cool. It is like, oh wow, like whatever. But new things are happening. Just for everyone. Not that anybody cares, but um, I met a CPA who refuses to comply with the federal tax laws that they are obligated to comply with. So that was like a very expansive, challenging conversation that kind of reignited my will to continue.
Abby,
Um,
I'm sorry, just you brought up the cannabis industry.
yeah,
I have the full contact list of every cultivator in Rhode Island, and I
let's
can send it
go.
to you if you'd like.
Kenny, is Kevin on that list?
He might be. I
Yeah.
know he's got a
What's
few
his brand?
connections.
He's an investor in a brand, so it's not him directly, but he's like associated with a pretty big one.
Which
Yeah,
one?
yeah. He's very much like one of those sharks you would see on Shark Tank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which cultivator is he behind or backing?
I think it's somewhere in Mass.
Oh, in
Um,
Mass. Okay, got it.
yeah, yeah. I would have to
Oh,
double check
okay.
with him.
Well, I have that list if anybody's interested.
I am. First time I met Kenny via like one-on-one and Kevin, his boss, I had like 12 plants in my back seat. Living the full Maine life, like there may have been other weapons in the vehicle and like just totally he was like, "Oh my God." I think he fell in love with me a little bit because it was utter chaos, but also
Yeah.
just like the
I made the smart decision of getting very tight with the cultivator at the place that I worked, and he's right down the street from me. So
yeah.
I'm still playing the black market game for what it's worth, Abby.
So now I have to know what other weapons were in the car
No,
because
no, no, you guys will all think I'm crazy. Although Nate did say I should start just sharing my crazy world. So,
Why not?
um, okay.
Yeah, this
In
is that kind of group.
in serious risk of horrifying and turning all of you off, which is, I guess, where we're going with the social media and the grit conversation. This is giving me chest pains, Nate. Oh, in Maine, you can conceal carry and you can carry ounces of cannabis at the same time. It's almost like a challenge of utter freedom, like free will. So I have, usually I've concealed
That
handguns
sounds very
under my
mean.
console and
That sounds
vape.
really mean.
It's very Maine.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, that's all.
Washington State's very similar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Bronx is also very similar, except it's not legal.
Yes. Except it's not legal. Well, there
Yeah.
are some risks. I didn't cross any state lines though, like that, so I need to maintain
Here's a fun fact about cannabis. So it's
uh,
legal in Massachusetts,
very.
and the island of Martha's Vineyard off the coast of Cape Cod has three dispensaries, but they're also cultivators and they can only sell their own stuff because if they brought it over on the ferry, it would be considered federal waters.
Yeah, international trafficking. Oh,
Yes,
Mike, thank you for
yes.
that. That's gonna be a fun little tidbit I'm gonna share.
It's crazy. Their prices are $50 for an eighth, and you've got people in Massachusetts selling for 10. But
I
it's
know
all
the
because of
prices
where they
are
are and they can't
really,
move stuff back and forth.
but also you can't transport it as a patient or consumer because you're subject to the same federal international water laws. So, yeah.
Oh. I think Miss Melody is trying to say
Yep.
something.
Thanks, Gary. I don't, Melody, are you there with us still? If not, we can totally come back to you and totally realign with where we were. Anyone?
Abigail done scared Melody off with guns, cannabis.
I know,
Kenny
I
said,
might have.
Kenny
I
said
might have,
more.
Nate. I'm gonna blame you.
Oh, you're right. I shouldn't have brought up the Bronx. You're right. My fault.
There she is.
You're good. Thank God you didn't leave
Here.
us. Okay. Leave me being violent. Okay.
No, I just while we were talking about the social media aspect, I know the conversation kind of took a little bit
Bring
of a
us
turn.
back. Bring us back,
Um,
please.
but um, my perspective is I feel like today where visibility is so important, um, being an introvert myself, that is the thing that is hard. Like I feel like I have a lot of ideas and I can do the work. I also paint personally, and so I've been trying to do an art business. That's what I've actually been doing for the past few months. And I've just been sitting on this roommate idea that I had 7 years ago. And I was like, now is the time to build it. But even with my art, and I'm learning similar with this new app, is if people don't see me, then the business is not really going anywhere. And so, um, with how business minded people on Instagram and on TikTok like portray themselves as being like hyper visible, it's that is the thing that's difficult for me is showing up so that people can see me.
Well, there's plenty of ways you can show up as an introvert. Plenty of ways. It's part of your personality that's built in, right? It's not something that you could change. We are who we are. But there are plenty of ways to show up that don't include crazy TikTok videos and listen to my 5-step plan and make $1 million. Like you don't need to think that way. You could do it through writing, you could do it through graphs, you could do it through a carousel of images. There's a lot of ways that you could be seen without having to feel like you're part of the circus. Give
Nate.
yourself credit for that. I mean, there are a lot of introverts who get seen.
Also, I'm probably going. I'm probably going to say what I told Abigail like last week. Like, there's a lot of stuff that you can do without the traditional, let me not even say traditional, the trendy, like show up and be on camera and do all this and all that. Like you mentioned that a painting. Everybody loves art. You don't have to show up, even though sometimes that does get a lot of views, people showing up, painting, whatever. You don't have to do that. Just post your art, have a caption that's talking about, okay, I painted this, blah, blah. Like writing is very good still, even to this day, right? AEO, SEO, everything. Like it's hard to rank on videos because it doesn't say anything unless you got a transcript. But that's a Kenny topic. But there's ways to show up and like not be on camera and then just be who you are. But it's all about finding like essentially who your people are, right? Who's your tribe? Who are you here to work with? Who do you want to work with? Who do you like working with? Right? All these things that go into your ideal client, your ideal partner, your ideal investor, whatever it is, right? These are all things that you got to consider. And that just goes down to the strategy. After that, everything else gets easy, right? That's just technical. That's just tactics. But finding out who you want to talk to, why you want to talk to them, all that, like your narrative, your offer, whatever it is, everything else can be after, right? We can get you in camera. We can media train you, right? I'm pretty sure Mike does media training as well. Like we can little something help people pitch it.
Enough.
It's a little something. It's a little something, but like that's all stuff that can be helped after. But just post. It doesn't necessarily need to be you. It can be Abigail's hat.
Mm,
The other thing I'll add to that, very tactical. Email and DMs on LinkedIn are more effective than posting on LinkedIn and posting on social media. If you have a database of people, create a newsletter. Start start easy, get an attractant, right? Some sort of lead magnet where you're capturing their email, create an email address or an email campaign, and now you're targeting exactly who you want to talk to because they came to you first, right? And there's no chance of an algorithm. There's no chance of not being seen or not ranked high in SEO because it's email. None of that can be controlled. So it's a simple way to communicate without having to be all over the place?
I when I first started this group, and I tell this story all the time, when I first started this, Kenny, when was it? It was like October 2024. Kenny joined me December, January. I would pray every week. Mike, was I telling you this today? Please, nobody show up to my event. Please, nobody show up. I don't want anybody to show up. Please, I don't want to be seen. Please, please, please. Grit. I showed up anyway. I started showing up anyway, and I stopped saying that little stupid little prayer. And I just started to get, show up anyway. Stop wishing no one will come. Stop wishing no one, just don't, you don't need to say, I wish people will see me. I hope people will see me. Just stop saying, I hope they don't, first of all. That's my story. And I just persisted. I showed up anyway until it got to a point where there's 9 of us here this week, but like some weeks we've had like 20 or 30 people, and the conversations are always fantastic, no matter how big the group is. So you get used to it over time by like small levels of exposure, and like doing something scary every day was a motto I had for a lot of 2024. Like, do something that scares you every day, and it doesn't need to be like jumping off a cliff. It could just be like posting a selfie to your social media, which is what I go into next. If you look at my Old Woods Instagram page, you scroll way back, I did not post myself, like, ever. I did not want my face to be seen on there. I have my first talking head video being posted on Friday, everybody, and I am disgusted by it. Okay? Disgusted. I don't want my voice out there. But I have posted my face every day for the last year and a half, where I'm like way over that at this point. Like, that's nothing to me anymore. And honestly, my engagement has gone way up since people started seeing who I am. And like, I hated that at first, but now I don't even care. Like, the small levels of exposure, the grit, they're showing up even when you feel not good about it. It desensitizes you, and you can start doing those things more easily. And like, so on Fridays, I'm going to be posting the Talking Heads reels until I get better at it and see if people even like it. We'll see. I don't like it
I bet you've
at
got at
all.
least 3 people in here who would be happy to help with that.
Yes. Well, for now, just the one time is. But and I filmed a bunch there on my phone, and it felt good actually. And it was pretty easy. It's very easy content, which I
Yeah.
like easy content.
I can relate to the do something you're scared of. Like I was terrified to do it, but finally hit post on a free anybody can attend pitch event. I'm calling it the pitch it to me pitch extravaganza or spectacular. And people are going to show up, and they're going to pitch for a minute, and I'm going to give them feedback in two. I'm going to give them a new way to look at it. I'm terrified of it. But I finally got up the guts to say, screw it. What's the worst thing that could happen?
Mike, I could talk to you about that all day if you want. It's a lot of fun. And the more you do it, the more fun you start having, because I'm a very spiritually led person. Okay. Like, it is the foundation for everything I do. And so I'm just going to say this. If God puts an idea in your head, you better listen to it. Even if it's scary, you just got to keep showing up, keep doing it, keep showing up. And like, eventually, if you build it, they will come, because it's your purpose. It's what you're meant to be doing. It's what you're meant to be sharing. And so, as scary as it is, just keep going. Have the grit. Kevin.
Regards to the social misconception, my misconceptions were more amongst people who were already familiar with me within a portion of the professional industry, such as finance and capital markets, etc., investment banking. And when I decided to branch out of my own, they were surprised because I was somewhat of an introvert. And in some ways, I still am. However, the incentive was for me to become more outgoing and become more social, was, the idea that, I found something that I can do. I developed my skills over time and I could do it. I could actually execute. I could engage a company or an early stage business and actually identify where it was lacking. And I could offer them a service which is valuable. I could connect with a counterparty, an institution or an angel investor, and I could assist them. And that really helped me overcome that. And, sometimes um, you become, lazy, or you take web contact and remote interactions for granted. And it's difficult for some people to get out there and see people face to face, interact, tell them who you are. And, still face to face interactions are some of the most im- some of the most poignant opportunities to become noticed and people to, um, remember you for who you really are and make a new impression or have an excellent first impression for you. So you should never be afraid to get out there and show people who you are. Although social media and, remote communications, AI marketing, et cetera, they have their uses because they're good, especially when you use the ones which are, very good. I feel that when you go out and you interact with people face to face and you're not afraid to share your thoughts and share what you know and find cohesion, um, you become a more memorable person. They're able to identify you with your business instead of some, business entity, which is marketing them online or attempting to be into contact with them. That's all.
I couldn't agree more with what you're saying. I mean, putting yourself out there and being confident that you know what you're doing is one thing, but forming that connection with your client, your partner, your customer is another. And there's nothing that replaces that one-to-one. It's the same reason why the most expensive way to promote a new food, like a cracker or a jam or something, is sampling in supermarkets, because you immediately get that one-to-one interaction and they experience it in front of you. It costs a lot of money to do that, but that's for good reason. You're going to sell more, right? I have an event I want you to check out, Kevin. It's called venturestarters.com. You just go to that website. It's called Venture Starters. All of you should check it out. It's fascinating. It's every other Wednesday, 4 p.m. And it's run by a guy in LA, but it's 35 2-minute pitches over 2 hours from startups pitching for investment. And that would be a great place for you to live. And I just go, for me, it's shooting fish in a barrel because I hear a bad pitch and send them a note. But you would hear some pretty fascinating concepts that need what you do. So I'd check it out.
So on the lines of the introvert thing too, I mean, at my core, I'm an introvert, but what I've learned is how to be out there a bit more, and I'm still improving that skill. But for me, I have to take time afterwards to recharge. So it's not so much about whether you're an extrovert or an introvert, it's what you need to do for the self-care side of it. So if being in front of people, if doing the posting, if doing the videos is exhausting, then make sure that you schedule time for you so that you don't completely burn yourself out on this journey. I have to. I have to step back. I have to have alone time to recharge and to be able to maintain my mental health. So just something about being an introvert and knowing who you are and what it takes to recharge yourself, lean into that.
I The recharge thing kills me because that's if I go to a cocktail party or something, I'm putting on an act. I have bad
Hmm.
social anxiety. So I'm putting on it. I am acting and playing a role for 3 hours. When I get back in the car, I'm ready to fall asleep. I could relate to that. And that's as an extrovert, same problem.
Yeah, you
Kenny.
gotta take care of yourself.
Yeah, I definitely feel where Gary's coming from because I feel like I'm kind of like in the middle of the spectrum. I'm not like the most extroverted person, but I'm not the most introverted. I'm like an ambivert, you know. Um, so when I'm comfortable, with this group right here, I feel like I could just reach across the screen, like, dap some of you guys up. Um, and I feel like there's that camaraderie there, right? There's that comfort there. But it took a little bit of time to build, right? And so kind of to bring the conversation back to Melody, I'm not sure if she's still with us. Um, but I would say take a little bit of time, like beforehand, right? Like if you got to do some breathing exercises, right? Or just kind of like be within yourself a little bit, and try maybe to record a couple videos, like introducing the idea of the app, right? But if that feels a little bit too overwhelming, if the idea is, an app for roommates, I'm sure that you've had some roommates in the past, right? So if you want to, invite a friend to come over, right? Kind of tell them, explain to them the idea, what you're trying to get across, and have them do it if they're feeling a little bit more introverted, they're willing to help out. I think that would be a good place to start.
I think, well, I had to get over the same kind of stuff kind of at the beginning, right? Like when I started my own company, all of a sudden I'm worried about everything I say and blah, blah, blah. But what I find is we all suffer from the what ifs when we have to present ourselves and when we have to talk to a new group or a person. What if they don't like my tie? What if I stutter over my words? What if I forget what I'm going to say? And what I explain is two things. One, those have a 0.1% chance of happening. It's irrational thinking. But two, creating a connection quickly with your audience takes all that away because your brain goes from me versus them to us. So, an example, I worked at Hasbro. First time I had to present to the C-suite and the whole amphitheater of country managers, 60 people in the room. I was terrified. I get up in front of the horseshoe with the C-suite and I look and I'm like, oh my God. Show of hands, who else felt like they were going to throw up the first time they had to present to this front horseshoe? Even the CEO raised his hand. And all of a sudden, I saw this. It wasn't me versus us. It was me versus them. It was us. It formed an immediate bond that made me feel like I was having a conversation. And you see it in every TED Talk. They ask a question or give a think about this statement. That's partly to engage the audience, but partly so they know the audience is engaged with them and they can go on in a conversational manner.
100%. That's a great point.
And if somebody hates your tie, own it. Turn it to your advantage. Like,
Yeah, screw
I
them.
hate your tie. I know. Isn't it awful? You'll never forget me.
One of the biggest introverts I know, one of the biggest introverts I know, Jeff Borshawa. I don't know if you guys know him. He told me I offset my introversion by wearing a Hawaiian shirt. So on every call, he's got a Hawaiian shirt on. But yeah, own it.
Kenny, Nate.
Another thing to kind of go off what everybody is saying, nobody cares that much about, like, you're going to see all your flaws, right? When you look in the mirror, you see if, I don't like the way this looks or this looks. People that you're just meeting and strangers and people online, they don't see none of that. It's just like, I'm pretty sure Mike knows this. If you mess up when you're giving a speech, keep going. Nobody knows you messed up. You're the only one that knows your speech. Nobody's going to say, he forgot to say this. He forgot to say this in the intro. He forgot to say this in the body. He didn't close off with this. Nobody knows. So, like, take that and use that to your advantage of, like, nobody knows what I'm going to say. And also, a tip, if you do want to start speaking in front of a camera, it's hard as hell to record yourself. But if you get somebody else to record you and you just talk to them, it's a lot easier, right? Because I know I struggled with that beginning. Like when I started off in the industry, I hated talking in front of the camera, especially if I was recording myself. I remember being in college and they're like, record yourself giving a presentation. I'm like, this is the dumbest shit ever. All right. But I was good at working a room, right? I like something about being in front of a room makes me like, all right, now I can go back to playing basketball. I'm just entertaining. Boom, boom, boom. In front of the camera and nobody else is around you, and it's quiet as hell in the room that you're recording in, dumbest shit ever. But if you have somebody that's there, right? A niece, a nephew, a daughter, a kid, whatever, little brother, little sister, just have them record and you talk to them. And then if it's ass, post it anyway. If you don't like it, post it anyway. If you messed up on some words, post it anyway, right? But it's going to get you more comfortable with messing up because everything can't be perfect. When you get in front of a live audience, it's not going to be perfect. There's going to be a lot of mess ups, but you just got to take it on the chin and keep going.
Exactly. And that's kind of the grit of the well, my definition of grit is at least, right? If you could have that video as something to look back on later and say, "Oh, look how much better I got in this next, draft." You know, at least you'll know that you've made that progress, even if it's a little bit.
And I'm going to add to what Nate's saying. One of the ways that I get people out of their head when they have to be on camera or they have to record something, it's not just talking to someone, it's having them ask you the questions. Treat it like an interview. So they're prompting you and you're responding. And it feels much more natural than looking, like Nate said it. It's like looking down the barrel of a gun when you're presenting to straight to a camera. But if somebody's asking you the questions, then it's prompting you on what to say, gets you a lot further that way, and you feel more comfortable. You look more authentic.
I get weird as fuck when somebody else is filming me, though. I'm gonna say, I can't keep a straight face. I'm like, this is weird. I have to be alone. I have to be alone. I'm way more not, but I'm different. I'm a
You
weirdo.
don't have to be goddamn serious. Like nobody wants a super serious.
True.
You can
Like
have fun with
people
it.
want your they
Yeah.
want your personality. They want an authentic
Ugh,
relationship.
I
So you
get
can
giggly and awkward, and I'm like, what are we doing here? Maybe I'll just film that sometimes. I
But
bet it
that's
goes
just a
off.
difference. Like you have the ability to do that, but maybe I don't, or maybe Melody doesn't, right? The people I work with are trying to talk straight to a camera. If I start asking them questions and they're responding to me, I'm getting authentic answers. So it's treating your filming almost like an interview. It takes the pressure off of you, even trying to remember what you say. If you're trying to script something, the reason why people say and ah, it's just like finding a place and you lose your place reading a book. Oh, there it is, right? You find it again. Your eyes are rattling around. If it's a script, your brain is looking around and it fills in the time with you know, get comfortable with a conversation. If somebody asks you a question, you're not going, you're responding naturally. And that's the benefit of a conversation versus just a recording.
Yeah, those are all amazing points. But for me, when it comes to visibility, I can show up and I can have a conversation. And I think I do actually pretty well being in front of people. I've been in my school when I was in college, I was, in the executive board of our society, like of one of our clubs. Um, and that is not the problem for me. It's really the exchange of time, like the or I feel that the amount of time that I have to put into becoming visible, like creates burnout, right? It makes me feel exhausted. Um, I know, like I can go out and do it, and I know that I have to do it, and it feels like it's a never ending cycle of visibility. And myself personally, I would love to just be in the background and like do all the technical stuff all day long. But I know I can't build by just doing all the technical stuff.
I would definitely set up time to talk with Nate and Kenny about that because they're going to have so it's not the reason you're putting in so much effort is because it's either not connecting or you're putting it in the wrong place. There shouldn't be that much effort to put yourself out there. And so there's something missing in your strategy that's just taking up too much of your time. I'm certain there's a way that it can be tweaked. I may not be the exact person to be able to help you, but based on what Nate and Kenny are talking about, I know they could add value. So I'd pick their
yeah.
brains about that.
I was about to say, I think it's like obviously when you first started out, it's more so a hunting, but eventually you need to shift that hunting to just attracting, right? So that means not needing to post constantly. Like if you need to post constantly to get the same amount of traction, that's a problem, right? Eventually you need to create a lot of gravity around your brand. That way when you post, it's easier to hunt. If that makes sense, right? If I gather everybody, all these fish in a net, I can easily pick out which one I want. But if I'm just constantly taking a spear and trying to hunt, it becomes a lot harder and a lot taxing. So you need to kind of shift your brand's gravity in a sense,
You
or build
used the best word earlier, Nate, tribalism. Like you've got to build your tribe. It's all about building a community of people who believe in what you do because they radiate that out,
they
right?
become
They're like, you
advocates.
got to meet Melody. That's what you're trying to get to. And email is an easy way to do it. Social media is a higher, it's great, but you may not get the same results, but keep trying. It's just what you're putting out there and where you're putting it are the two things that are most likely holding you up a little bit.
Yeah,
There are
join the
ways to fix that easily.
yeah, join the Discord. I'm gonna put a resource in there to help.
Also, before I pass it to Kenny, I did just drop some topics for next month, and I don't think I just liked that. I might have. Anyway, so tapping too hard. Visibility might be a great subject for May because I think that that's something everybody struggles with, whether they want to admit it or not. But I did drop a couple others. Mike, you had mentioned imposter syndrome. I think that goes hand in hand, and maybe that's like the subject for next week with invisibility. But just want to share that because this is going in a great direction. But we do need to come to a conclusion and carry on for next week too. On that note, Kenny.
Yeah, I raised my hand because you know what time it is.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So to close out this month's theme of grit, I have a quote from Angela Duckworth, who says, "Grit is using mistakes and setbacks as opportunities to get better, not reasons to quit." And with that said, I will pass it back to our lovely host, Abby.
All right. I'm feeling good about visibility. Um, but speaking of visibility, check out the YouTube, get on the Discord. We like to keep it going over there. And same Zoom link next week, same time, same place. I'm actually looking for a host for next week. If there are any volunteers, I got two of you on the top of my list. You know who you are, and it's not Gary. Gary will be late next week, okay? But Gary's gonna host in 2 weeks.
I'll be
Yep,
down. Yeah.
yep,
I
you
know I'm
got
on the
it.
list.
Nate, you're too slow.
I'm always
But
like 5, 6 minutes late. So
It's all right. He'll be the co-host whenever he joins.
true, true. All right.
Yeah.
He always is a great co-host anyway. So, all right. So in May, we'll talk about visibility. I might not be visible the first 2 weeks of May because I will be traveling.
Abigail
I
already
might.
failed the discussion for next week. So
What's that?
I said you already failed the discussion for next week.
Yeah.
I
Deducted.
gotta
But
I gotta run, but Abby, this is for you. So this is my pen,
yeah.
lights.
Oh, nice.
Oh, damn.
Nice. I can't smoke before hosting a conversation. I cannot smoke
This is the
before.
end of the conversation. It was a product demonstration.
Yeah. That I can't do accounting like that. I can't.
There
But you know what? I can do my social media stuff.
you
I have
go.
the influence.
Thank you for having me. This has been great. And the company is called Smile Labs with a Y instead
Nice.
of an I. Thank you for having me, Abby. I really appreciate
You're
it. It's
welcome.
great to meet you guys. I look forward to talking more with you.
Yeah. Really cool to have you, Travis. Gary, Nate, the guys you guys already know. For all the newcomers and, you know, some of the who's that down there? Shamika. I hope to see some of you guys next week. And thank you so much for joining us, Abby. It's always a pleasure.
The end. That was great. Well done, Kenny.
Hey, I'm starting to, pick it up since what's it been, a year now?
Mhm.
Kenny, first of all, I'm going to stop the recording.